Survivor on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Watch 1226 on your side, wherever you go.
The Columbia County Fair, brought to you by the Merchants Association of Columbia County.
Celebrating 30 years with Richard Rogers. Happy 30th anniversary, Richard. Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12, live at 5.
Well, we woke up with some cooler air today, and we're not done yet as we dip below freezing overnight as we send things over to First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hill. Riley, a lot of blue right there on our screen.
A lot of blue out there, Will, and it's definitely going to get cold. And I'm sure if you've been outside today, you have felt that cold air around. We do have the coldest air of the season that is going to show up tonight, early tomorrow. We do have a freeze warning in effect early Thursday morning, and then we are going to see the potential for another freeze out there early Friday. Now, it is cold and breezy out there today, so there actually is a fire danger that will stick around over the next couple of hours here. We have seen some winds gusting 20 to 25, and take a look at our humidity, less than 20% across most of the area. So try not to burn anything if you can. Any fire that does start can turn dangerous very quickly when air is this dry. Take a look at our wind gusts. We've actually seen winds gusting over 20 miles an hour across most of the area, and even getting close to 25 in a few spots. So definitely a breezy day. Here's our sustained wind. So generally between 10 to 15. This isn't overly crazy, just a little bit gusty out there compared to a normal day for us. If you're heading out this evening, our temperatures will drop quickly after sunset. Right now we're in the 50s, but we will see the 40s by around 7 o'clock, dropping into the 30s by 9. Before midnight, we should be within about 5 degrees of freezing. And as we continue into the overnight early tomorrow morning, that's when the freeze warning comes into play. You can see the entire CS right now included in this freeze warning. So this was a freeze watch yesterday, been upgraded to a freeze warning now that we were within 24 hours of freezing temps. Here's tomorrow morning into tonight, so you can see those low temps anywhere from the upper 20s to low 30s across the area. Protect any sensitive plants you have outside, and also don't forget about your pets as well. So a cold start Thursday, but a little bit warmer tomorrow afternoon. We should be able to see highs at least get within a couple degrees of 60, and then we do start to warm up again really by this weekend. We'll have a look at that coming up in the full forecast, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
All right, folks, let's take a look outside. This is a look at Riverwatch Parkway and I-20, and you can see Riverwatch a little congested right here. I-20 doesn't look too bad right now. So I-20 eastbound, westbound lanes here near the state line, no major issues at the moment. Looking out over downtown Augusta right now, a beautiful day there in downtown. You can see blue skies and definitely some pretty chilly temps. Update on some warmer weather, though, in the long-term outlook in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. Richmond County deputies have charged a man with murder after they found a body in a shallow grave behind a home on Wrdw. 30-year-old Colby Smith is the suspect, but we don't know much about the body. The JBI Crime Lab is working on that identification. And while they do that, we've done our own search. Our Sydney Hood has been out there all day looking for new details. What have you found, Sydney?
Well, neighbors started to grow suspicious after they hadn't seen or heard from the victim in a long period of time. One neighbor actually told us that the victim used to bring by the mail every single day, and whenever that stopped happening, this neighbor started to suspect that something was wrong. And it kind of gives you an idea of where this body was found, back here on the edge of the woods, way back behind this two-story duplex off of Hurd Avenue. There's some blue tarp on the ground. That is where the body was found, and it was found in a very shallow hole, and neighbors let us go back there earlier today, and we can see the exact spot where the person was buried and was eventually found. We aren't sure exactly how long they were buried there, but a neighbor told us they started asking their own questions a couple of weeks ago, and things are still relatively fresh out here with some crime tape still floating around. Now, again, we still do not have a name for the victim, but Colby Smith is still in custody facing murder charges. And coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, the moment one neighbor knew it was time to start asking questions and how he found those answers right here in his own backyard.
All right, thanks for that, Sydney. And again, the GBI is working to identify the body, and when we know who that person is, we, of course, will let you know. Well, the Burke County Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding Raheem Rollins. He's wanted for aggravated assault in connection to a shooting of a 17-year-old on Catesmead Road in Waynesboro. Officials say the teen was taken to the hospital with not serious injuries. Anyone with information can contact the Burke County Sheriff's Office. Well, for the first time in more than 3 weeks, hundreds of people waiting at the border between Gaza and Egypt. Richmond County deputies are looking for a suspect in a shooting that took place near some houses on Old Waynesboro Road near Taylor Road. Investigators say Andrew Blockett is wanted on a charge of aggravated assault for the September 9th incident. They say he hit the victim in the face and shot him. Authorities say Blockett is 6 feet 200 pounds and classified as armed and dangerous. A child was seriously injured in Warren County when he was hit by a vehicle while running after a school bus. 6-year-old Mitchell Frost was hit on Legion Drive Monday morning. Now we're learning that the driver who hit Frost is not facing charges and was not at fault for this accident. Mitchell's family said he had another surgery today. Of course, we'll keep you updated on his condition. Well, it's been more than a year since Wellstar Health closed its emergency room at the Atlanta Medical Center, and today marks the 1 year since the entire site fully shut its doors. Demonstrators plan to lay 460 markers on the ground to signify the number of hospital beds no longer in the city. Meanwhile, city leaders hope another hospital would take the spot, and talks are continuing. But that has affected Grady Hospital and people who need emergency care.
A lot of people depended on, coming here. It was walking distance, and it was faster for the trauma over this area. Now everybody converted to Grady. Now Grady overcrowded, so now you spend more time seeing it Grady.
Grady Memorial Hospital is now the only level 1 trauma center in Metro Atlanta. It's adding 182 new beds thanks to an investment from the state. Early voting is coming to a close ahead of Election Day next Tuesday. Here in Augusta, the last day to early vote ends on Friday. If you're in line before the scheduled closing time at your voting precinct, you are still allowed to vote. Polls on Tuesday will be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. with the same rules applying. Meanwhile, as polling locations prepare for voters, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger made the rounds recently checking out locations. We caught up with him last week, and now the ACLU of Georgia has signed a letter to Columbia County not to work with a voter poll software company claiming it might violate the National Voter Registration Act. But with the holiday travel season getting closer, what are the odds of being stopped and searched in an airport? Why the stops could be illegal? That's coming up next. Riley?
And the first freeze warning of the season in effect tonight. We will see a hard freeze as we head into early Thursday and potentially again heading into our Friday. Look at some warmer temps by the weekend, though, coming up just after the break.
Well, there's plenty of water here today on the Augusta Canal. This parking lot right next door is being considered for a new whitewater rafting facility. All new on News 12 at 6 o'clock. We'll hear from the Augusta Canal Authority on their thoughts about this space being the next destination spot for Augusta.
Time and temp.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome back. A beautiful view down the Savannah River, and you can see still a little bit breezy out there. You can see a little bit of a chop on the river looking downstream, but clear skies, blue skies overhead across the area. But temperatures are definitely pretty chilly out there. We've only seen our high temps hit the mid-50s so far this afternoon. I think what's very impressive, dew points all the way into the teens. That is definitely the driest air we have seen show up so far for our fall 2023 season, and that's the type of air that you really need to start using the chapstick, lotion. It will definitely dry you out very quick. We got a good steady northeast northeast wind bringing in that cool air, currently sustained at 15. Here's a look at other temps across the region. We're at 53 in Edgefield, 54 in Aiken, same thing in Washington, Thompson, a little bit warmer there in Louisville at 59. In Wrightsville, you're coming in at 57 degrees. Through this evening, it's going to get even colder for us. We are going to see those temperatures drop pretty quickly once we get just a little bit past sunset tonight. And by the time we get to early tomorrow morning, we're talking wake-up temperatures below freezing, upper 20s and low 30s across the area. So that is why we do have those freeze warnings in effect. Definitely going to need the winter coat heading out to the bus stop early tomorrow morning. Temps away from the city environment, upper 20s. Tomorrow afternoon, we should be in the mid to upper 50s and just hanging on to a lot of blue skies again out there tomorrow. And tomorrow is actually the start date of the Columbia County Fair. So they are going to open up those gates at 5 o'clock there in Grovetown. We got some nice fair weather out there tomorrow evening. Once those gates open up, we should be in the 50s, but most of that evening will be in the 40s. So it is going to stay pretty chilly out there tomorrow. Once we get later into the week, our temperatures do start to gradually warm up. So by Friday into Saturday, our afternoon temps should be hitting the 60s and even 70s by Saturday. And we got a lot of leaves falling from trees, so if you're going to have to rake those up, our wind will start to calm down some Thursday and really calm down Friday into Saturday, and not expecting any rain anytime soon. Here's a look at our weekend forecast here in Augusta. So 72 Saturday, 73 on Sunday. Generally just sunny skies all weekend long. Just a few of those high-level clouds showing up on Sunday. Beautiful weather on tap, though, for any outdoor plans you may have. Our rain chances do remain very slim through the weekend. It's early next week. Maybe a quick little shower, nothing too impressive. Right now we're looking at our two global models here, and neither one of these really shows a very high chance of rain by any means. So for the next 7 days, there's just not much rain in our forecast. So great weather to get outside and enjoy some of this fall weather across the region. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. Remember, later this weekend we do fall back, so turn those clocks back Saturday night. And then as we head into next week, those temperatures getting close to 80 degrees once again.
Thanks, Riley. Drug agents are searching innocent people boarding flights at airports across the nation. The DEA and local police are not making many arrests at the gates, but they are seizing a lot of money from passengers, even when no drugs are found. Here's investigative reporter Brendan Keefe.
Hiding in plain sight at the busiest airport in the world, drug agents walk the concourses, blending in by dressing just like passengers. This is a DEA task force officer scanning passengers boarding a flight from Atlanta to Los Angeles. There's another. How do we know who they are? Because we use the same tactics to investigate them after several passengers said they were targeted for warrantless searches at the gate or on the jet bridge.
I'm a random search, guys. So he says. So those white folks, and I'm the random search.
That whole thing is just so humiliating. Like, who thinks this is a proper way to treat anyone?
Drug agents searched Tabari Sturdivant's bags in the boarding area in front of other passengers, some recording on their phones. The agents didn't find anything suspicious.
He just is like, are you high? Have you smoked? Do you have any drugs in this bag? Do you have any money?
The DEA and other drug agents are seizing millions of dollars from departing passengers at airports across the nation without making arrests during what the feds call cold consent encounters.
You're either going to sign a consent form saying that you're allowing us to search them, okay, or I'm going to detain them, run my dog on it, and get a search. Feel free to search the bag, sir.
It's not a consensual interview in those circumstances. It's an ambush.
Dan Alvin and the Institute for Justice have sued the federal government on behalf of passengers who had their money seized when no drugs were found. The government doesn't arrest the passenger, they quite literally arrest their money.
It's actually easier to forfeit someone's property from an innocent person who is not charged or convicted of a crime than it is from a criminal defendant who actually is convicted of a crime.
We found the plainclothes DEA task force officers by going to departure gates for LA flights. They stopped passengers at the boarding door, asking to see their documents before going through their carry-on bags. The searches we watched came up empty. The drug agents cased 3 different gates at Atlanta's airport, blending in with passengers while we observed from a standoff distance. But it didn't take long before the task force officers spotted our phone and camera. Once they sat down, it was time for a cold consent interview of our own.
Hey there, I'm with the news. You're Sergeant Fikes, aren't you?
I'm with Atlanta News First.
Okay.
How many innocent people do you have to search before you find what you're looking for?
Sir, I've got nothing to say to you.
Another officer was behind me, out of sight, over my shoulder, giving hand signals to Fikes as I asked him questions. What about Sabari Sturdivant? Do you remember him? No? Why do people have to prove themselves innocent? You got nothing to say to these people?
Not off the backs of innocent citizens. And you'll catch some crooks in this process as well. But sadly, we're catching too many innocents who have to fight their way out of this bind.
None of these people have been charged with crimes.
That's not the way our country's supposed to work. You're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. Not, oh, you're guilty, give me your stuff, and then you can have it back if you prove you didn't get it through ill-gotten gains.
Brendan Keefe, on your side.
Senator Rand Paul is supporting a bill in the U.S. Senate to fix this problem. It passed the House Judiciary Committee by unanimous vote. Half the 18 co-sponsors are Republicans, the other half are Democrats. Well, from the airport to your car, how to protect yourself and your warranty this holiday season when we come back.
First Alert Radio.
Well, most new cars are covered by at least one kind of warranty, but how much do you know about what's covered? A consumer investigator, Carice Jackman, spoke with a man who took a dealership to court after finding an issue with his car that was still under warranty.
It's an issue Richard Houston didn't see coming, especially after purchasing a brand new vehicle. If you could describe the entire situation in one word, what would it be?
Be hell.
Houston bought a new car in January of 2020. Within the first 18 months, Houston says he noticed spots forming on his foot.
I noticed my car paint was like peeling on it. It looked like somebody dropped acid or something on it, really, so I didn't know what was wrong. But then I noticed it was all over the car. I had 25 miles when I bought the car, it was brand new.
Houston says he tried taking it back to the dealership to see if they could fix the paint, but says he kept getting the runaround, with employees telling Houston it wasn't their fault, but a result of outside influence.
And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. You gotta have a car outside. I said, this is ridiculous.
Houston also says his car was under warranty.
The paint was put on with not enough layers when they painted the cars. It's supposed to have 3 coats, and they said the 3 coats that were put on it equals a piece of copy paper, which is nothing. And it's just a bad paint. And nobody wants to fix his car.
That's when Richard Houston got an attorney to help him fight his case.
Ultimately, she got a large cash settlement.
Consumer attorney Bob Silverman with Kimmel & Silverman is the law firm that helped secure the settlement. Silverman says in Houston's case, the Federal Warranty Act, or the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act, was in his favor.
What it means is they can't fix your car within a reasonable period of time or a reasonable number of days in the shop. They owe you money. They owe you a percentage or portion of your purchase price back for the difference between what they promised you and what you got.
Silverman says it's important for consumers to know their legal rights and reread your warranty from time to time, especially if you think you have an issue.
I guess the most important thing is don't be taken advantage of. Document, document, document. And if you're not getting anywhere and you think you're taken advantage of, find a credible, honest, good lawyer to talk to. Don't sign anything until you're comfortable. Bring to that lawyer's services, and never go with a lawyer who's going to charge you a fee.
Houston's happy he fought back and wants people out there to know they have every right to do the same. For other consumers out there who feel like they don't have a voice, who feel like there's no end in sight for them, what would your message be to them?
You do have a voice.
With this watching your wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
The car company has not replied yet to a request for comment. Riley?
Well, our high temperatures are going to remain below average over the next couple of days, but much more seasonal for the first weekend of November by Saturday and Sunday. Now look at that full 7-day forecast just after the break.
You have wall cracks? Sagging? Call George St. Gentry Lawyers at all nines now.
concentration problem.
When you call my dad.
All right, welcome back. A live look down I-20, and you can see this eastbound lane starting to slow down just a little bit. So it is just happening like clockwork again this afternoon for us as we get closer to 5:30. Beautiful day, a lot of sunshine, a little bit cool out there. We only saw our high temps hit the mid-50s today. Very dry air in place, and also still pretty breezy. That wind's not going to calm down too much until we get to much later tonight. Here's our low temps heading in tonight, early tomorrow morning. How about this? We're going to wake up in the upper 20s in many spots for the first part of your Thursday. Another cold morning Friday, down below freezing, but just shy of that freezing mark near in the low 30s. And then those temperatures do start to gradually warm up as we head into this weekend, early next week. Now, if you are heading to the course tomorrow, I'd imagine there is a frost or freeze delay for those early tee times. So you're most likely going to have to wait until about at least 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow afternoon, it is still going to remain cool. Most likely keeping those highs in the 50s for tomorrow. Later into the week, though, we do get much warmer, and those high temps will stay into the 70s. Not much rain this 7-day forecast. Stick with us, much more on Live at 5.
Introducing the first alert